F1 Manager 24 Career Mode Race 3 Australian Grand Prix. Having a quick look at facilities and facility upgrades we could do, or refurbishments, because we'll build a helipad. When I first came to this team and was looking through the facilities, it was a bit like, ooh, that's not great. It's the worst part of the team for sure. But we're just upgrading it all, basically. The design centre is the most expensive upgrade, so that's probably going to take a while to upgrade, so we'll refurb it. We're going 20th and 20th with both drivers.
There may be several street circuits on the F1 calendar, but this unique lakeside layout is like none other. High-speed sections snake through the heart of Albert Park, just a few hundred metres from St Kilda's beach. Last round was a dream weekend for race winner Oscar Piastri, the Australian showing his mettle against the best of the best. And with that, I think it's time to get started.
In practice 1, Max topped the timings. We were P18 and P19, so where the game sort of expects us. Lewis Hamilton topped practice 2, we were 18th and 22nd. And in practice 3, we were 1st and 17th. So you can tell that last practice session wasn't accurate, being quickest on the hards compared to them on softs. Both drivers are very confident though. Let's head into qualifying.
Qualifying is coming up, and the drivers will be ready and raring to go.
These days, it's a much faster layout here at Albert Park, and teams need to focus on getting high and medium speed cornering right to set a good qualifying time.
We can see the Ferrari driver there, Karun. How do you think they're going to be feeling heading into qualifying?
Looking at the lap times, we saw a real lack of pace from them in practice. They never looked quite comfortable with the setup, and they'll need to try something new for qualifying if they want to get past Q1.
Well, we're certainly ready in the commentary box. The drivers are getting ready down in the pit lane, and it's time for qualifying.
Into Q1, 8 minutes left on the board. Iwasa starts his flying lap. Gio now starts his flying lap. We're going to get a little bit of traffic maybe, I think. Can't actually tell if he's on a lap or not. As we watch Gio quickly. Yep, there you go. Iwasa's lap ruined. Gio's lap is still okay for the moment. I mean, they're both going to complete their laps, I think, so there's no point backing out of it. And Gio's lap has now also been ruined. So, not a great first run. Both drivers' laps being ruined, but it is what it is. And we come across the line. Iwasa only overtakes Lawson, which is still just shows how poor our car is, and Gio doesn't beat anyone on the final lap in Q1. I'm actually really worried. So many cars in such a small track. It's easy to get blocked around here. As we think Gio out first this time, Iwasa out second. It is a bit of a risk, because so far I think Gio's had the better race pace, but Iwasa's definitely had the better quali pace. As we see Gio now coming down towards the end of sector 2 through the fast left and right, and that is his lap. Heavily compromised, I wouldn't say over, but definitely heavily compromised, as Iwasa is now finding that same car. Towards the end of Q1, Gio's going to come up towards the line. What's it going to be? P16, so one of our drivers is out. Iwasa goes 13th. Gio is down in as Norris comes across the line. He's P20, and Iwasa nearly didn't make it out in P16. Yeah, P20, not a good start to the weekend. Iwasa's going to start his first run in Q1. Q2 should be first run of 3. The first 2 will be on scrub tyres that are used in Q1, and the last one will be a fresh set if we can make it back to the pits in time. Catching up towards a Red Bull, come towards the end of sector 1. It's a purple sector, but I think we're first out. Verstappen kind of on the racing line, assuming that was Verstappen and it wasn't Carlos. It might have honestly been, yeah, it was Carlos. who's on the racing line, because Max hasn't actually exited the pits yet. Coming through towards the end of Sector 2 and the end of Sector 3 through the final corner up towards the line, puts the first time on the board. It's a 1:15.6, which about just over a second down as we start our second flying lap of the session in Q2. Sector 1, there's going to be no cars in the way. Sector 2 maybe, but Sector 3 most definitely. We need to catch them in a non-awkward place, otherwise that might be our lap ruined. It's green through Sector 1, coming down the far straight towards the left-right in Sector 2. It's a yellow sector. He's not improving somehow. That is a little bit annoying, but they're the same, basically the same type where we are being blocked by a V-carb that comes into the pits. That I'm assuming is lap over because, yep, we don't improve. Still P9 on a fresh set of tyres. We've been bumped down to P10 there. I'd say we need about 2.5 tenths to be safe. Williams gets off the racing line. One of our cars, I think. No, it's not one of our cars. It's in Q2, for God's sake. Yeah, we've been heavily compromised there. It's a yellow first sector, which isn't the worst, but we definitely need to improve now. Major improvements in Sector 2 and 3. It's a yellow in Sector 2 on new tyres. I think this is going to be the end of our qualifying session as we come through towards the last two corners. Can we make it into Q2 for the first time, Q3 for the first time up towards the line? It's no improvement. But the only one that can beat us is Valtteri Bottas, because the rest are on in laps. And Valtteri Bottas coming down towards the end of the second sector. Well, he's going to have a car in the way, and he's going to get heavily compromised, and that is us through to Q3 for the first time this season, and for the first time with Haas, as he gets even more compromised by an Alpine of what I can only assume is Logan Sargent up towards the line. He does get above Sargent, which just shows how poor Sargent's lap is, but into Q3 for the first time, I don't expect anything more than what we could possibly be Albon. So we're on a scrub set for now. We'll see if we can get P9 and beat Alexander Albon in Q3. But it's going to be a wet race, which I haven't mentioned yet. But yeah, it's going to be a wet race, which means there's a big chance for points then in the wet race. So coming down towards the end of Sector 2, it'll be the flat, well not quite flat, left, right, down towards the 90-degree corner of turn 9, I think that is, through the twisty tight Sector 3, through the final corner, up towards the line. What's it going to be? He's going to put the first time on the board of a 15.3. I think you need like a 14, yeah, low 14 to be at the top. So we're just over a second off, just like we were in the last session, to be fair. But we've qualified ahead of Alonso and Leclerc, who I'm assuming haven't put a time on the board yet. But we're on a fresh set of tyres now in Q3. We've got a McLaren just in front of us, but he's also on a lap. Need to be Albon here. It's a green first sector. That's a good sign on the fresh compounded tyres. Hopefully these Ferraris and stuff won't get in the way. The Ferrari, the Red Bull, the McLaren in the final sector. The Ferrari may get in front of the McLaren, but it shouldn't get in front of us. It's a yellow second sector coming through the last two corners. The commentary isn't the best, but we are on times 2 speed, so it is hard to commentate when the gameplay goes so fast up towards the line. We move above Albon for now, and that is going to be P9, our highest ever qualifying position for Haas. Not quite in general, but actually it might be. But yeah, what a qualifying session to the wet race.
Are all set, every one of them eagerly awaiting the 58 laps of today's race.
Albert Park often seems to set teammate against teammate, from Hill and Villeneuve dueling for the 1996 win, to Bottas beating fellow Mercedes driver and pole sitter Hamilton to the win in 2019.
The Albert Park circuit is bursting with rapid corners and a long straight where drivers can push their speed to the limits. Good attention to medium speed downforce will likely make beating this beast of a track just a little bit easier. Tension continues to build here as race day begins.
Strategy then for this Grand Prix, inters to inters. Maybe a bit of dries in there, but I don't think it'll be long enough to the point where it's worth pitting, especially with the F1 Manager AI, who are a lot smarter than Codemasters EA's AI. It's definitely not going to be an aggressive strategy. Or it might be, but we try not to explode the tyres too much. But yeah, full beans off the start. We're gonna start the race now. Let's see what we can do on race day. Can we get our first points today?
As we settle in for the weekend's Grand Prix action.
They've got to drive a perfect race if they're going to fight up from P7 in this one.
Here we go. It's time to go racing. Brace yourselves for the Australian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Lights out and away we go from P9 and P20. It's a slow getaway for Iwasa. Quick enough to the point where nobody... Oh, that's quite nice. You can hide the UI. That's cool. Yeah, it was a decent getaway. Gio has made a place. We're going to put them both on high overtake aggression because we want as many points as we can get here today. Through the third corner, Iwasa with Alonso and Hamilton in front of him, Leclerc and Russell in front of them, as we now get a replay of Gio overtaking Zhou Guanyu for P18 down towards the tight right. Nice move. Gio, if Gio can make that many places, he could even beat Iwasa today for the points, as Gio is going to go again on Gasly, but he's not going to quite find the space. He's going to swoop around the outside though, in towards turn 3 on lap 7, and he's got the place up to 17th as Iwasa gets overtaken by Ocon, but we don't need to worry about him. He was always expected to go past. We just need to hold off Bottas and Albon as Gio gets past Sargent and up to 16th. Oh dear. Oh, not quite. Carlos did spin, but no damage, so we won't get in position from that as Albon's overtaken us. That is bad. Gio now climbs up to P15 after overtaking Pourchaire, and Bottas is going to get us. Iwasa's down to P12. There's just the two V-carbs between us. Verstappen sets fastest lap, and now Iwasa has been overtaken by Tsunoda. And honestly, I'm thinking we need to pit soon, as Iwasa and Tsunoda keep fighting. But Gio comes into the pits as Zhou has crashed on turn 11. Okay, bro just forgot to steer the car. God, driving without due care and attention. Bloody hell. Anyway, Gio comes into the pits. On the marks, it's a slow stop, 4.7 seconds. That's quite a bad stop. Zhou came into the pits with us, of course. Yeah, I do not want to watch that back. Gio's in 19th, but he has got quite a bit of fresh air now as Iwasa comes into the pits, and we're going to try and undercut them. Into the pits we go, off on 2.5 seconds, and we're going to come out in P14 behind the two V-carbs. Okay, P15 behind Pourchaire, but we should get him pretty quickly. And speaking of, we get him the next lap on Harvest ERS mode, although he does give off a bit of a fight, as track was dry when we pit, but it's now changed to damp. And Iwasa is now up to P14. Pourchaire not wanting to give it up though. He's going to fight it. He's going to dive down the inside, but nothing coming of it. Iwasa has the place as Gio goes around the outside of Kevin Magnussen and is up to P18. Still a reminder that barely anybody has pit yet, as Gio now overtakes Gasly and he's up to P15. Yuki Tsunoda comes into the pits. So that should be a place for Iwasa, maybe a place for Gio, not quite, as Bottas comes into the pits, another place for Iwasa, and Ricciardo comes into the pits, another place for Iwasa, and possibly another place for Gio. Maybe, it's not impossible, not quite. Daniel Ricciardo not having the best of home Grand Prix, as Giovinazzi is going to go for the overtake here on Daniel Ricciardo, and he's not quite going to get the place yet. Bit of battery usage, diving towards turn 3, shove him off. The home fans will not like that. He's up to P14, as now Albon is overtaken and he hasn't even pit yet, and we're up to P10, trying to cool the tyres down into the yellow temp, as Iwasa sets fastest lap. Ocon said it before us, but then we got it with was that a 25-1? Daniel Ricciardo and one of our cars, I think that's Oliver Behrman, fighting towards, he should have really let him through, but he didn't. And Daniel Ricciardo has been hit by Ollie Behrman, as Kevin Magnussen has a bit of a spin down towards the hard right, just got on the throttle a bit too early. It happens. Bottas trying to find a way past Iwasa now, can't quite do it, as Iwasa goes off the track but ends up gaining time in that on Bottas as we start the final lap in P10 and P13, and we're going to finish for the first points for Haas and 2 points to our name. Iwasa gets P10 and keeps the fastest lap. Gio is going to come home in P13. Should have really checked what his sector times were in case he was setting the fastest lap, but it's P10 and P13 from P9 and P20. So Gio definitely had the better race, had good race pace as well, but we managed to finish with our first points.
And with a 13th place finish, that sadly means there's no points to be claimed.
And no doubt, Verstappen fans will be celebrating the Dutchman's achievement.
That's their second win of the season, a brilliant talent who looks so at home on the track.
Well, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park, but it was a thrilling weekend here for us all at the Australian Grand Prix. Now, Karun, I'd be really keen to know, how do you think the Haas team will be reflecting on today's result?
It was a strangely mixed weekend for them. We saw one driver put in a strong performance, but it was a different story for the other. Definitely positives there, though.
And that's about that for this weekend here in Melbourne.
Next round will see us head east as F1 prepares for the Japanese Grand Prix. We'll see you at Suzuka, a firm favourite for the drivers.
And I forgot, but this is actually our first time scoring points on F1 Manager. So we get 2 points. 2 points. Iwasa moves up to 11th in the driver's standings, overtaking Zach Ricciardo and Joe, and Haas move up to 6th in the standings. However, in the pit stop standings, we got 1 point. I remember we used to be like 2nd or 4th, and then 6th, and then 8th, and then 10th in our team last season. But yeah, we moved down from 7th to 9th in that championship, so not great. But Gio did have a 2.4 second pit stop off the best time because of his pit stop, and we need to install a new front wing and new suspension and new front wing for Gio. But we have a new front wing design coming in for China, it should be anyway, so that's not too much of a worry as we build the helipad construction completed. Can we do anything else? Refurbish the memorabilia room? Yeah. Refurbish the tool center. Do we upgrade the helipad? Do we upgrade? Yeah, we upgrade the helipad. We have 2 scouting of Carlos Sainz and George Russell, but neither of them on a sign, but it's just always good to have, isn't it? Do we end up doing anything here? 81. We're going to go for Charles. We are going to offer Charles Leclerc a contract. Should be replacing Gio because Iwasa just got points. Next season, his salary, yeah, we'll keep going up for a while. Bloody hell, 26 million. We'll add a signing bonus of like 150 if he gets. Oh no, wait, no, that'd be a race bonus. Signing bonus 150k. Give him 100, 200, 250 if he gets first. Offer deadline 21 days. Send the contract to Charles Leclerc for next season. I mean, I don't think he'll take it, but it's always nice when you need a new head of aerodynamics. So we'll send an offer in for Enrico Balbo. We could have got Diego Tondi's actually signed for Mercedes, which is crazy. Although I thought we signed him. Yeah, I thought we signed him for our team. I need to investigate that actually. Next time I play F1 Manager, I'm going to check that after I record the post commentary for this. Marcus Dudley goes up to 91 rating. Drivers are getting better. I feel like now we've got the car for points, we should try and get them to qualify better as we now rush through the pit stop. And if you don't know how to make your pit stops faster, just do gym training. Gym training is the way to go. And also we'll do rest where there's car building, pit and pit stop drill, just so they don't become awful at mistakes. There you go, 41%, but that we should gain like a 10th per pit stop now. Sponsor plan, target missed, I don't know how we done that so bad. Upgraded the heli pad, and now we will just make sure we get the engagement on the sponsor plan. Bang. 79 and 76 rated for the drivers, were they always that high? Design centre fire, so we've had our designs pushed back 14 days. Make sure to like and subscribe for the next race, which will be at Japan, and our upgrades will be delayed to Miami. But see you next time. Goodbye.